Oh yeah,
When is that not beautiful?
bro. What do you see when you close your eyes? Like, can you try to describe it?
Well, it's different every time.
So
Recently, I've put more effort into seeing blackness.
you put effort into seeing blankness.
Black,
Why?
yeah. Because the thoughts get the shapes and the colors and everything gets too much.
So trippy. I'm going the exact other way.
I've been that way, and it got too handy, and I couldn't turn it off. But that was all pictures and visions and thorns and gnarly shit. It was like 24/7, kept me up for like hours. Couldn't sleep.
I just
It was too much.
Maybe that's why I'm having shit sleep, bro.
I just want to float in the blackness. That's what I've been trying to do.
What do you? Oh man. Is that because of that experience with the images?
I guess so. Maybe I've just that was like a year or two ago, maybe two, yeah, maybe 3 years ago.
And that's how you.
So I haven't thought about it in a long time. I'm just more enjoying. I kind of feel like I'm floating in deep space. I'm just out there, just floating away. Nice.
I've found I've been sitting too high on these chairs, and it's made me do this a lot. So I'm like bringing myself back down a bit, so I can kind of just like
Down to earth.
yeah, let my shoulders sit back a bit more. Posture
Good to have
is
the old
such a
shoulders back.
bro, spiritual chiropractor, bro. Every time I go into a meditation, I'm like sitting there in my way, and then I like just do something, and I just feel every time like this just. And it's
Do you
like,
hear it click?
Yeah.
Did you hear my click?
Nah.
I do these breaths. I'll go click at the top of my breath, and it's like, I'm just like something's realigning.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like aware of my thing and my shoulders back, and I just do a deep breath. It's lovely.
Did
All
you?
the just compression from all day, just like
Yeah.
lumped over. It's rather nice.
It is. Did you have anything you thought about or felt or something while you were in there just then?
Nothing specific. Definitely impossible to not think about like just like podcast and
The fact that we're about to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
less of like what I wanted to talk about. I was just trying to get into the present, just let go, surrender, love, all that kind of shit.
We're literally creating a paradox
Why?
because it's called the No Pressure Podcast,
Yeah,
but that's what we're doing is like applying pressure to something. Like a
Yeah.
conversation that you and I normally have. These aren't usually here,
no,
and it's like immediately I'm like trying to fill the space, but then
Yeah.
I'm like trying not to, which
Right.
is creating a pressure.
right. Well, I think that's what I think people, that like that quote I said the other day. It's like only dead fish go with the flow. I think what flow actually is more to do with like it's the right amount of resistance
Right.
where you go through life at like the perfect. It's balance, It's like there's enough resistance to move. I can't go down anymore. That one can. It's enough of a challenge that you have to put effort in, but not too much that you get hit by something.
I got it.
Yeah.
I was turning the wrong majigger. Felt like it was just a little bit too high over
To
my.
see me.
Yeah. I always found that interesting as a visual experiment as a kid and still now. Is like have you ever looked through a fence and you can see something, but it's like say it's a picket fence, so it's like there's gaps
Yeah.
and you can see something, but part of you can't see it. And then you close one eye and you realize it's because this eye has the fence in front of the
Yes.
thing, and then that one has the.
I always done that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was just experiencing with the mic, and I
Right.
was like, I don't like it. It's too much right now. There's
Yeah.
already enough stimulation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
One eye's seeing me.
yeah, and the other one was
Yeah.
like trying to do it over the
Your brain
hill.
starts like flickering out, eh?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I thought about during the meditation.
Didn't ask, bro.
Pardon me. The what?
I'm kidding. You asked me, and then I was like, I didn't ask, bro. No,
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a funny. It wasn't.
It is now.
Yeah.
And
No, but please do tell me.
all I thought. Well, that's the thing though. Actually, as a side note, before I dive into what I thought about in my meditation, asking something back after somebody has asked you seems polite, but it also could be
The opposite.
it could be a habit rather than something that's necessary.
Right. I
Like-
always like, especially if I ask a question out of curiosity, I hate it getting flipped back on me because I'm just curious about that. I'm like, oh, now I have to now
Yeah.
there's pressure on like for me to answer something, and
Yeah.
you know,
And in a way, it could be some sort of what do you call that? Like a I don't want to call it an issue, but I think asking something with the desire to be asked back could be like a selfish way of conversating.
100%.
So having the instinct to ask somebody back,
Yeah.
in a way, is like it's kind of like if somebody gives you a gift and you're like, oh,
Here's also
Here's one
another
for
gift.
you.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
it's
not
like-
actually a gift then. You're just equal.
yeah, just receive the question
Yeah.
and be like, cool. And then if that other person,
And then
like
if you're
me,
curious, exactly.
in this
yeah,
situation,
flip
if I'm
it.
like, I want to give you what happened to me,
Uh-huh.
I will. But you don't necessarily have to ask me back for me to do that. So I don't
No.
think apologizing for it is necessary either.
Yeah.
But I found it interesting because
My
I'm
apology was for making fun of it.
like, right,
Yeah.
bad joke. You do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, I got a bad sense of humor. It's like, no, it's just like I missed it.
No, it's
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the funny thing about humor is that there is a time and a place.
Right.
It's hilarious because after a meditation, sometimes we're just into like a beautiful kind of zone, and then like a cheap joke's just like it's just gonna land flat, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, place and time. Oh, good shot. Yeah, place and time is comedy. Like the place and the timing
Yeah.
of words is the difference between it being funny and it being not,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Anyway,
I feel that.
so what I thought about in my meditation
Yeah.
was the feeling of choosing to not be concerned with where the crowd's going. And it was like, for whatever reason, when we went to Palmy for that gig, when we were the original Misfit gig, that
The
first Suns one,
graduation
Destination Graduation,
Yeah.
that's the one. And we were all going to get beers and shit beforehand, and I was like, I remember there was like a liquor store, and then there was Pack and Save, and there was this moment where I was like, oh, where'd everybody go? And then I was like, fuck that. I was like, just do your own thing, you
Yeah.
know? And
Fuck, is that liberating,
it is.
On the smallest thing of like that, you know, it's like so liberating. Rocking to the beat of your own drum.
Bro.
I've had that mantra in my head. So I watched this movie. It's like some kid's movie. And she's
Yeah.
like, I rock to the beat of my own drum. And then like that has been a mantra in my head for like a few years now.
What is that? Do you know the movie? Or no?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. It was a singing movie. It was like a kid's animation, you know.
Oh, was it called Sing? Oh, no,
No,
it's just like
That's
a
a banger
musical.
as well. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of those.
Sing?
Yeah.
Sing's good, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Worth a watch?
Yeah. Matthew McConaughey as a koala.
That's pretty good.
Could have been some dude with an Australian accent. I'm not gonna lie, that could have been a good move. But
Yeah, but
Matthew
like,
Matthew McConaughey is gonna smash something.
the reason that I enjoyed the thought of that in my head is because koalas are stoned like 18 out of
True.
24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I'd say Matthew McConaughey has probably spent a fair
He's
amount of
actually
time in that
more-
state of mind.
Honestly, in this movie, he's very like, let's go,
Oh,
you know,
no
cocaine McConaughey. McConaughey.
Bit of a Wolf of
Kane.
Wall Street kind of like,
Yeah, bro. More of that
Mhm.
kind of guy. He plays it well.
yeah. Fuck, he hits that whistle well, eh?
Do you reckon that's too loud for the mics?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Are you cold?
No.
You want a blankie?
Nah, I'm all good. I'm
I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of like following your own path, I think it's interesting that for me, it's definitely I want to say it's become baseline. I remember talking to you about it the other day, and I
Yeah.
was like, I don't think like that anymore. But I think I do. I think initially I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, nah. It's not that. It's like the gap between.
You
me
talking about following the crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I think that I used to follow so heavily that now I'm like, I have to flip the switch every time when I'm
Yeah.
in a group situation. I'm like, where? And then I'm like, oh, let it go.
100%,
And, like, go,
yeah.
You know, but
I think we're just built to be like that, you know, social creatures, and like school. Where's my class? Safety. All these different things, you know. It's like
School, bro.
it's just school built us, you know. It's
School.
crazy.
Well, they reckon. I mean, obviously it's your formative years and stuff, but it's
Yeah.
like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing with that? Like,
School?
yeah,
I don't know.
there's lots of different kinds, so I don't want
Yeah.
to be like, all school's bad, you
No,
know. But
but-
I'm also like,
It's a buzzy experiment, bro.
do you know what I think? It's a byproduct of the fact that we don't have time for ourselves, bro. It's
Yeah.
like you go to work, you do your thing, you come home. It's like you've only got a certain amount of time in the day to like get your. This is when you don't have kids, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? What are you gonna do with your kids for 8 hours a day? Send them to school. Well, why? Why would I do that?
Well,
Well,
I
no,
gotta
but
go
they're
to
getting an
work.
education there, you know. So it's like it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm not just dropping them off somewhere to hang out.
We're also training them to be part of the workforce, you know, which is an important skill. I mean, it depends. It fully depends. Like, I don't want to put my kids in school.
Nah.
I've had that thought for the last few years of just like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But then, like, I'll switch to like, but then I developed in school and I like me,
Yeah.
you know, so maybe I just need to make sure they're fucking prepared. I don't want to send them to school until they're like 7 at least. Because that's
Right.
what, like, apparently your brain's just a sponge
Yeah.
up till then. So, like, control the environment around them till they're 7 just to, like, give them the best little fucking setup.
Drop
and
them
then,
in a couple years after. They'll be
yeah,
fine.
they'll fucking blend in. You can be 10, blend in, you know.
Kids malleable, bro.
Very.
Yeah. My sister went to like 7 primary schools,
Yeah.
bro. Like no
Yeah.
joke. Like I don't know how
Yeah.
she managed that, but it was,
That is an early 7.
bro.
That's more than one a year.
Maybe
Yes.
maybe 6. No, well, she did primary school up until year 8. She didn't go down
Right.
to intermediate.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it explains her, bro. If
Yeah.
you meet her and she's just like, hey,
Yeah. She
immediately
blend.
like, who are you?
Yeah.
You know,
No worries.
I can make friends wherever the fuck I am.
Yeah.
Because she did that for the first like
Yeah.
13 years of her life. It was just like
Exactly.
no school.
And I think, like, especially like our kids are gonna be around so many fucking curious, cool people, like
Right.
growing up, that like skills can be like, oh, what? Like, you're nervous to talk,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I'm around like dad's artist friends all day, and they're fucking giving me shit,
What's
like,
up?
you know, yeah.
treat me like a little human.
Exactly.
Bro, like Herb, bro.
Bro.
The way, bro, I admire Liam, bro, so much in the way he's raised his kids, bro, and just like oh man, he is like the. It's like it's not like there's no leash, like you know, there's got to be a little bit of a hey, but it's like it's more of like a when they come back around. He's like, Herb, you need to put shoes on, mate, and he's like, nah, fuck that, and he's like, it's fucking cold out there, buddy, and he's
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm gonna go anyway, and he would just like run off, and he's just like, well, you'll learn,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, and he
if
does.
you're cold, you're gonna put shoes on, you know.
Bro, and like Herb will, like he'll meet people, and I remember Liam saying this once. He's like, Herb has a separate relationship with people. To me, it's not as if it's like this is my dad's friend.
Yeah,
It's
this
like,
is my friend.
yeah, this is my
guy.
friend. I'll meet him, and bro, I
Yeah.
experienced it for the first
Yeah.
time, like at a gig we did out in Hamoana for. I think it was when we were doing the flood release stuff.
Yeah.
And he just came up to me, bro, and he was just like, "Hey," and I was like, "Whoa," because bro, like
It's
a,
little
a
Liam,
kid's
you know?
attention, bro, is
Yeah.
such a crazy thing to have,
Yeah.
right? Because it's so pure, and it's like you're the whole world in that moment, you know. Like
Yeah.
they obviously, like some have a perception of future and past and stuff, but
Yeah, it's limited. you
yeah,
know?
most of the
So
time,
like this
that's where
moment
they
is
are.
crazy, you know.
Yeah, and so this little, you know, because anyway, he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, man," and I was like, "Hey," and he wasn't like, we're about to become best friends. He had like a little bit of like a, "Who are you?" You
Yeah.
know, and I was like, I'm Seamus, you know, like, it's nice to meet you, and like, you know, what's your name? He's like, Herb. I was like, "Sure, Herb." I was like, "Seen you around," you know, and he's
Yeah.
like, yeah. He's like, I just live up the road. And I was like, yeah, true. He's like, yeah, just by the beach. I was like, cool, cool. That's sick. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, what do you do? And I was like, bro, like, I don't even know how old he was at the time. But I was just
Yeah.
like, I could see the cogs moving, bro. And I
Yeah.
was just like, this is crazy. And then when I left, I was like, "Cheer, Liam," and I was like, "Cheer, Herb," and like he acknowledged that was like
Yeah.
the social like understanding and individualism, bro. That he's inspired in those kids just from letting them
Bruh.
be who
That's
they
the
are.
hands
It's
off
like,
approach, you know. That's me, bro. That's how I'm gonna be so hands off. Like, just if you're curious and intrigued, you'll watch me and maybe copy me. If you don't like that, then you look at somebody else and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna copy them, and like
Yeah.
just find your flow, you know, find
Yeah.
your thing.
But that's the beauty of the right environment. It's like you can
Exactly.
be hands off if you have them in a good
Right.
space.
You need to create the environment. That's
But it's
the
like
key.
if you're just handing them off to wherever and they're soaking up and then they come back and then you're like brr, 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 brr,
Yeah.
for like what 2 hours a day before you go to bed,
Yeah,
and
no.
then the next morning you're like remember brr, 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 brr,
Yeah,
brr, and they're
yeah,
like
yeah.
no, okay, I'm gonna go where I spend most of my day now
Yeah.
and do my behaviors
With
that I'm
my
learning.
fucking friends,
yeah, with
you
people
know.
that are actually spending
Actually
time
understand
with me,
me,
bro.
yeah.
But I mean, look, not to fully
That's,
bash the system, but like in terms of learning, it's like learning outside of school is a really important part of it, and that comes from time spent, like
Yeah.
showing that like the world, like in learning, doesn't begin and end when the bell rings. You know,
No,
it's like it's
exactly.
a constant, the full
Just
day.
student for life, you know.
Bro, exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, if you can, like, but we don't have kids, bro. So
I know,
like,
it's
you
so
know,
easy to talk about.
It is. Yeah, we know how to raise children.
Mum always says it to me. She's like, I can't wait to see you fumble.
Yeah, same, bro. Same.
But that's part of it, you know.
Yeah,
I can't wait to fumble.
same.
Yeah.
bro. And I like.
I honestly think I'm gonna fumble well though.
Yeah, same. We fumbled through life and we've made some pretty
Yeah.
crazy saves and catches.
What is it?
bro.
Falling up?
Falling up.
I fell down, but I landed higher than I was.
How did I get here? Oh well, I'll just keep doing what I was doing before.
Yeah.
Do. Bro, that 7 years thing is like, for me, I think is I don't know. Like you say, right? You're going to have a certain environment that your kids are going to be around. But you're going to facilitate that environment through living a certain life before they come into existence,
Yeah.
right?
And have a bit of a compound, you
Right.
know. I think that's a big key as well. Of just like, and then all the homies that are living on the compound have their kids, and then like just breeding these cool little humans, you know, that are just like running around, pretty lawless.
Can you, just for context, what is the compound?
It is. Okay. This is basically what it is. I told myself that if I get successful when I'm older, I'm going to give back, and so I just want to I've kind of shelved the idea, so I don't want to think about it too much. I've kind of like,
Because it's a big if.
it's a big if, exactly, and it would be like a crazy amount of success.
Yeah.
But like to the degree, just say I fucking smash everything and just like become wealthy, you know, because that's one aspect, and also just like sane, you know, just have the brain for it or whatever. I don't know. It's at least one of my passions. Is just like create. I'm gonna call it Flow Village, but yeah, create a thing where just it's a big thing to talk about because
Yeah,
it's
same,
so
bro.
deep inside of me that I'm like, I don't even want to like say
You
it,
don't wanna
talk
let
about
out
it,
into
you
the
know.
world 'cause you let the juice go.
Perhaps,
Yeah.
yeah, part of that, and also part of it's just like it's so like. If I say what it is now, it's just not gonna be that, you know. It's
Sure.
it's just gonna be its own thing when it comes.
Yeah.
But I think the base of the idea is that like I want to create a space where I can get other artists to come in and create for free. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Create a space where artists can come and
Yeah.
just make shit, you know. Just to echo art and fuel the world's creativity, especially. Yeah, that's the
I
kind of
think
shit behind it.
I think there's a beautiful way to, and I don't know where it came from, but corners, not borders, bro. And what I mean by that is like if you've seen a picture in your head of a puzzle, it's like, you know, you can have like corners that you're like, I want to have a place where I'm giving back
Yeah.
to artists. I want it to be a place of creation. I want it to be a big thing. I want to call it Flow Village, and I want it to be just like a safe space for pure creation.
Yeah.
But the size of that frame and
Exactly.
the picture
Love
inside
it.
is like totally
It's-
up to the future.
up
you
to
know?
the universe, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And also, if I had filled it in completely, there's no surprise. There's no like, ooh, what's gonna happen? You know, like I love living in that zone where it's like
Yeah.
this could be fucking big, you know, and
Yeah.
just let it happen and just do the work to become successful at the first part, you know.
Because that's the if, and it's,
Exactly,
it's
it's a big if.
necessary to work on the first part because
Yeah.
that's what's happening right now.
Exactly.
It's like that's the thing that you're filling in. You
Yeah.
know? Bro, I really like that. That's
Yeah.
good. Corners.
And it's a crazy
no
thing to
borders.
like think about before we've even gone to the start line, you know. And obviously we've started in lots of ways, but in my head I'm like,
Yeah.
until you're consistently putting out stuff like, and this is your full-time job,
Yeah.
then now you've started running the race. But before you've just been training,
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's a healthy mindset, bro.
Yeah.
It is. It's
Because it's
necessary.
especially for my ego of like, I'm like, no, I'm a rapper, I'm a painter, it's like, where is what do you mean? I'm not doing that every day. I'm painting houses right now, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm not an artist yet. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a professional. That's
Yeah.
how I like to look at it. That's how I
Not a pro.
separate the two.
Yeah.
is if you're getting
I'm an
paid
amateur
for it,
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're getting paid for it, you're a professional.
Yeah.
And
I'm
if
a
you're
damn
not,
good amateur.
Yeah.
You're a fucking outrageous amateur, man.
yeah, so are you, bro. You're putting me on a pedestal, bro. It's
Nah,
like
but
we're-
you are,
we're
bro.
climbing our heights, bro. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, like you, in terms of in terms of vision and stuff, it's very important to have a goal of being in the race, though. You know, it's like, yeah, you can warm up all you want, but it's like, if you don't have a start line, then like, what are you practicing for,
Exactly,
man? It's
yeah.
like, I think it's both ways.
Well,
It's
this
like,
is those
you can't
kind
have
of
no corners.
Those are
and-
it's like the series of it, you know. It's like the chapters are get lost in training for a while,
Right.
you know, because if you get lost in training, then you fucking get pretty good. But then it comes to a stage where like people are like, so you still doing that rap thing, or you know, and you're like, oh shit, fuck, I need to make this happen. And I'm like, no, I actually have been doing it, but you just
just not the way
I
you
can't
think
show
it's
you
gonna
it
be.
because it's not there. It's all up in the hours I've spent, but not in the
yeah.
you know, in the tangible. It's not in the matter yet, but.
I really wish I had the Kobe Bryant quote in my head right now, but I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, if you want to... Oh,
He's got some good ones.
bro. It's something about, like, outworking. If you want to... It's... I'm going to butcher this, but it's basically like, if you want to be the best in front of thousands, you have to outwork thousands when nobody's around. You know, like, when it's just you. Like... And that's fucking... You know... This is the beautiful bridge between one quote I do remember from Kobe Bryant, which I think is a fucking amazing one, is his definition of greatness is your ability to inspire people that are around you. That's what greatness is to him. It's not something that somebody owns or something that is defined by certain achievements or whatever. It's like, how well can you, being you, doing you, inspire others to do the same?
That is such a reel it in kind of thing.
Right.
Because it's like around you. What's around you? It's not like, you know,
I'm
it's
not
it's
trying to
not
make-
what you've done. It's like, what are you doing, you
Yeah,
know?
right.
Yeah.
And to connect it with like practicing and the idea of sort of being behind, feeling like you're behind the ball, or not being able to answer that classic question of like, bro, people always ask you like, how's music? How's your music? Or like, how's your art?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not even a sentence, bro. Like,
That's
what does
not-
that
yeah,
mean?
that's not a question.
Because to me, but the way I always translate it in my brain is that's somebody saying, how's life?
Yeah.
Because that's my life.
Right.
And that's... Hello? Who we got?
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
I'll get him later.
Oh, Papa. Man gave you life and you won't even answer their phone.
Oh, well, he can wait, you know?
yeah, I hope so. But
Yeah.
in terms of... where was that? Right, how's life?
Yeah.
So it's like, I want that to be my lifestyle in the way that I live, which doesn't look like what it is perceived as when it manifests into the matter. And what I mean by that is like, anyone's perception of a successful person in whatever field is like looking at the top of the mountain from the ground and you're in awe. You're like,
Yeah.
whoa. And your initial thought is, well, you obviously climbed up there. But the bigger the mountain, the more quickly that your mind is somebody who isn't on their mountain or their island, as we like to say, right? Which is probably a better analogy. But it's like, the bigger the mountain or the higher the heights that you see somebody at, the quicker that your brain tricks you and goes, they kind of just climbed up there. Like somebody must have helped them, or like maybe they cheated. Maybe they were born up there.
True. I
You know
don't
what I
have
mean?
that part. I don't have that in my mind,
Well, I'm saying in general, you know, I think
Totally.
most people perceive somebody at a
Right.
higher height, and that's why we have conspiracy theories
Yeah.
like, you know, all the A-list celebrities are aliens and shit.
Right.
You know, as people are just like, they can't
That makes sense.
grasp that somebody just went away and spent a fuckload of time on
Yeah.
a specific thing that they wanted to put time into,
Yeah.
and then a combination of hard work and timing created luck,
Right.
which catapults you in certain situations and gets you into places where you can be on a stage to display the thing that you've put heaps of freaking time into. And by the time you're there and you're doing your thing, because you've been working out and practicing, people are like, how do you do it? And it's like, it's like if you had asked him a week ago, it's like, how's the music going? He's like, I'm doing it. It's like, what more do you want from me? But when you have a moment like that, like a moment on stage, or you have a big, like a big day of like, what's it called when you put art on display?
An exhibition.
So you have a massive exhibition, right? Real successful, like all the art gets bought, it's crazy, like heaps of people come, they see your work that you've put hours into, they get to see the top of the mountain and they're like, whoa. And then it's not like on that day anyone's going to be like, how's the art going?
Yeah.
They're going to go, this is incredible,
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you describe that when you're
Wow.
going through the process of it,
That is fucking beautiful. Because it has been those times where I have been consistently doing it that it's been the best social interactions because nobody's asked me. They just said like, fuck, been seeing that recently.
Bro.
Awesome, man. Keep it up.
Exactly.
That's when you'd start getting discounts on like fucking, you were just, at a cashier and she's like, oh, yeah, fucking, you get a discount. I'm like, what? Saw your thing.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What are you?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
You want free
you've-
things? You want free?
Yeah, it's like you've connected with me in a way that
You've given me value. Here's some value.
yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's a good way.
Yeah,
to
it's
put
a
it.
value exchange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. That's the juice, man.
Yep.
That's
And
the
we're
juice.
fucking, bro, it's fucking sick that we're almost there. At the start line, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah. And there was a lot of fucking around, a lot of talking about working out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Through this analogy, it's like if working out and warming up is the process of getting to the start line, there's a point where you talk about let's go work out, let's go warm up, but it's like talking about warming up is a lot more appealing than actually warming up. You know what I mean? And then by the time you start warming up, you're like, this is just a warm up.
I know.
Fuck. And then bro.
And then, but the craziest thing is that, like, I guess it's different for everyone, and like some people are just like, just let me get started, which has not been the concept I've used,
Right.
like I've started a few different times and been like, I'm not ready. I need to go
Yeah.
back and get some shoes, make sure that I got some athletic clothes on.
Yeah.
I'm hydrated.
Yeah.
All these things, and then I can start running. I can start competing because
Yeah.
otherwise I'm like, I am not prepared to face this competition.
Yeah.
And get my shit going. And then some people are just like, I'm just keep going,
Yeah.
trudging through the mud in their fucking old op shop shoes.
Yeah.
And then they fucking head right back round the lap and hit to their station, and there's some new shoes for them,
Yeah.
which is like,
I want to sponsor that kid.
exactly.
Look at 'em try.
Look at 'em trying,
Yeah.
Which is funny that we're like, let's just pause running and
Yeah.
sponsor ourselves first,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's the difference between actually, no, I was going to say an independent artist and somebody who's like on a label or has financial backing through some sort of sponsor.
Yeah.
But I think realistically, there's no wrong way to do it.
Definitely not.
And you can, and the important part is doing it,
Yes.
Shia LaBeouf, bro.
Yeah.
That dude, it hits different as time goes on, bro. That
Yeah.
just do it thing is crazy.
It's fucking crazy.
But whether you're warming up or whether you're like running the race, either way you're doing it. It's just that you're doing it in the way that feels right to you. And in terms of those moments where you're like, I need to go back and I need to do a certain amount of stuff because I'm not ready for me to be on display.
I think that's what it is.
That's something I
You
relate
know?
to big
Yeah.
time, bro. Because I'm like,
I want to be perfect, which is
Yeah.
obviously a fucking stupid pursuit and like
Yeah.
impossible. We're never going to achieve it.
Yeah.
But it's just the way I'm wired, and I want to be perceived as fucking like, this guy's on another level. He's he's magic,
yeah.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm just fucking trying to put some hours in and, But that's what we see these people that we look up to, and it's like, how are they doing that? It's like Kendrick Lamar when he's just like in his prime, just going for it. It's like, how is he doing that? It's like, it's fucking hours and hours and hours, You know, it's not like he's just born that way.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, he
I
fucking
mean, this
climbed
is
the mountain.
yeah, same old fucking thing. But
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is, that it's an interesting thought experiment to realize that you are also the person that perceives people on the top of the mountain. And you go, how the fuck? Even though you know, because
Yeah.
your brain for a moment has to be like, oh, there's no way he just walked there. Like, there's no way. And then you're
Yeah.
like, no, that is the way. But it's
Yeah.
like, and then in terms of like we're saying about going in front of people and being perceived and wanting to be perfect and stuff. It's almost as if a big part of what we've been working on is actually just being comfortable with what we are and where we're at. And it's like, if you think about it this way, right? It's like, say you have a thing that you do, like music and art, right? And you're painting or rapping or producing to a certain standard. And for you, you feel like you're at the 50% mark. You're like, this is about as half as good as I think I could be, right?
yeah.
And there's a certain point along that journey where you get to a place where you've had enough, what do we call that?
Exposure.
Nah, like when you, confirmation, I'll use
Validation.
yes, when you've had enough validation, not necessarily externally. Well, obviously it'll come from an external source, but when you've had enough internal validation that you're like, fuck, I'm ready to run the race, you know? And that's when it comes down to the practical things, and it's no longer about you just trying to be in the right headspace.
Yeah.
And
That's when it gets real.
exactly. And it's like that's the part that I relate to a lot, because I'm like, I spent a long time being like, I'm at the 50% mark and I need to be at least 70 before I'm ready to put myself out there, because I know, and you know, that there is always going to be a certain amount of negative energy that comes from putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be,
It's chemical reaction.
it was like that quote today, bro. If you have something that you're happy with, don't share it, because judgment, it only exists when it's invited.
Yeah.
So keep the good stuff for you and enjoy it. And it's like, at a certain point, like, you could live your whole life without releasing any of your art, but if you want to make a living from creating, you have to put it out to be judged, and that requires a certain amount of thickness in your skin to be like,
Yes.
I
Or
don't
just
care
at
what-
least separation from it.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, man,
Which I think, like, fuck, I've been noticing with this meditation that I've been doing more and more. The bubble's getting thicker and less shit's bothering me. Less shit's allowed in. You know, like, keeping your circle small is one thing, but it's like, it's just creating, like, a thick enough wall that, like, you can see everything clearly. Like, I think bubble is such a perfect word because it's transparent. You see everything out there, but it's not in there. It can't touch you.
Yeah.
You know, and then that way you can actually have a big circle and nothing's fucking with you, because the
Yeah.
people that are allowed in your bubble are actually
Very
just
few.
very few,
Bro.
and the trust is built. You know, it's earned. It's fucking there.
And it's like, somebody can't rush into your bubble or it'll pop.
Well, they'll just rebound. You know,
Yeah,
it doesn't get in.
That's a bit of one. Yeah, my bubble's fragile.
It's the difference between our bubbles.
I'm working on it.
Nah, you got a good bubble.
Yeah, I do. It's gone a lot better.
Yeah.
I think that the cool part here in the analogy of running as well, to combine it, is like, what we're doing is falling in love with the process of creating more than we're falling in love with the reaction of running. You know what I mean? It's like, where did I come in the race? I don't care. I train my ass off and I love training.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and keep training.
And that's the juice of it.
Yeah.
And fuck, time just disappears as soon as you're not in a place of time.
And if you keep training and you keep running races, you're guaranteed to win one eventually.
Exactly.
You know? And you might come
But
fucking third your whole life, but
Yeah.
at least you're running a race.
or if you were just running if you were like competing with everyone and you like, I'm just gonna win, like, and you push and you just beat them. But if you're just in your zone and you're going 24/7, you're in your own competition.
Yeah.
You might be beating everyone by laps and laps and hours in front of them because you're not even
They're not even
focused
there.
on that.
Yeah.
I love that quote, man. The man that enjoys the walk will walk further, you know?
Yeah, then the man who enjoys the destination.
Exactly, because then you stop at the destination, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's banging.
It's just like eating elephants, bro. No elephants being harmed in the process, but metaphorically, like, having a bite out of something that seems inconceivable to finish on your own but just taking it
Just
one bite
enjoying
at a
that
time
bite.
and just being like, I'm gonna savor every bit of this,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna think about finishing it. I'm just gonna focus on doing what I can.
Yeah.
There's a million, bro. There's a million metaphors and
Analogies
analogies
for
for
this.
this, bro. The next step in the
Yeah.
dark, you know, you can't see. It's like, can you see the
I
next step?
think something that's so beautiful about that is that looking back, the times that you were conscious when you were suffering are way more. You take way more wisdom from them than the ones that you were like, look, I'm just gonna zone out until I reach the destination, and then you get there, you're like, oh, I kind of missed the whole point of this.
Right.
Was to see it, you know.
That's
This-
that's intoxication, bro.
Yeah,
for
bro.
me personally, I think
Yeah.
that's
Escape?
Yeah. Well, it's like, is it escape or it's numbing? I don't think you
Same,
can escape.
different words.
You know what I mean?
Well, you leave for numbing's a better one.
Because
Yeah.
it's like you're still getting it all, but it's
Yeah.
like you're just like, nah.
I don't want to look at it.
Yeah, literally. But if you can, but when you process shit, bro, it's
Yeah.
like that's when it's like,
I think that's when you start growing,
yeah, exactly.
because
bro.
that it's like you cheat uncomfortability otherwise.
exactly.
You know, and you're never really actually getting the juice from it,
Yeah.
being able to adapt and learn how to deal with it
Yeah.
better, you know, and work with it and all that shit.
I think cold showers for me were a really a bigger step than I realized into my relationship with comfortability. And it's interesting, bro, because like I perceived it at the start as like a mental health thing. I was like, this apparently helps your mood,
Yeah.
you know? And so I did it because it was like in the morning I just wake up and just be dusty or whatever and like get it all hot and like in my shower and then just like hit that cold, bro, and it would just be like, whoa, like this is so gnarly, and I'd be like, oh, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, and then fucking get out of it, and I'd be like, whoa, like let's fucking go, you know? I'm like, this does work, like I do feel better, but I always thought it was because like, oh well, I'm getting cold, and then the chemicals in my brain. But when we got the ice bath in, you were like, no, it's because
pain.
you're experiencing pain.
Yeah.
And I was like, not only am I experiencing it, but I'm inviting it willingly, and I'm
Yeah.
being like, come at me, bro, because I'm trying to get tough here. So like,
Yeah.
let's do this, and then you
Exactly.
come out of that, and then you just become more mentally durable, and then that's why comparatively to the moment before you faced pain to the moment after, you're happier.
Yeah.
Because your body's like, we just beat it. We can beat anything. Let's go.
In fact, like humans, there's this part in your brain that grows if you go through discomfort. But it doesn't mean that like you just do things. It's like you could do things that are uncomfortable, like lifting weights. But if you enjoy them, this part of the brain doesn't grow. It's
Right.
only from doing things that you don't want to do. And like that's that impulse control thing. It's like if you can keep on doing shit that I don't want to do this. It's not even like it doesn't matter the habit or this or make it an easy. It's like no, actually just going towards that shit, you know.
I mean, that sort of relates. I mean, I know why it sparked it, but I'm thinking about your mum talking about how she stopped doing ice baths. You know, maybe she got to the point where she was enjoying it, and she was just like, "This isn't doing the thing anymore." You know, there's no
Yeah.
way to find out if that's
No.
true, but that connected a thing in my
Definitely
brain.
potentially, yeah.
Because if you're doing it every single day, maybe it goes to the point where it's like, oh, and you're getting into like,
Yeah.
ice bath, sweet, and like
Yeah.
maybe you're amped up for it for a while, and then eventually it's like your brain's like, we're not getting that thing from it, you know,
Yeah.
we're not growing. Instead, we're just like doing something we do now,
And
you know?
and things become mundane like that. It's
Yeah.
like and you keep and it's almost like the benefits stop coming.
Yeah,
I notice it like different mindful activities. It's like it's nice to have a variety of them. Just lifting weights every day. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Doing the day in day out. You just get used to it. It's kind of mundane. You're not getting that same high off it.
Yeah.
But if you switch it up, do some yoga here. Do a bit of this here, bit of that here.
Yeah.
Switching different exercises. Reading. I always feel like when I'm reading books, I'm like, this is the same thing, just told in a different way. You know, all those self-help books. Every philosophy I fucking listen to, it's like you're just coloring the same thing in different colors. You know.
that's how I feel about life, bro.
I know, right?
I mean, that was like today when you were like, we think we're different.
It's just looking at the cafe, all these people laughing. I'm like, that's the same shit.
It is, bro. And that's how I feel when I go like, sorry, I was about to go on a tangent.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel when I look at houses and I'm going past and I'm like, every single house, every single person inside has the same thing.
As a
That-
whole
that-
universe.
Yeah, it is, bro. And that's my multiverse theory, which I think, well, not mine, but like that's how
Yeah.
I've conceived it. Is like every person is a universe within this universe that we share, and the real difference between all of it is the subtleties. And just like we talked about, if you're living a lifetime and I'm going 2 centimeters this way and you're going 2 centimeters that way, by the end of the
Kilometers apart.
lifetime, we've had completely different journeys, seen completely different
And
things.
ended up in completely different places.
Exactly. And it's like the beauty of it that I don't know whether it was where it came from, it could be because a bunch of apes ate mushrooms walking across the desert. It could be a God-given thing of consciousness. It could look, man, it doesn't
Be
matter.
all of it.
But we have it. And
Yeah.
and the thing that we have is the ability for me to go, you seeing what I'm seeing? And there is zero chance you are. Like,
I know.
there's no way that I can be like,
it can't
this
be
is
the
what
same
it is.
thing, you
And
know?
you go, uh-huh.
Yeah.
But the practice of
fundamental
doing
thing,
that, the
yeah.
practice of me trying to get you to figure out what I'm saying is what learning
Connection.
and evolution and connection is.
Well,
bro.
I think it's also this thing of like the subtleties are going to be different from each of our experiences,
Yeah.
but that's still a black mug,
Yeah.
you know. So we can find the
Things we
common
agree
ground,
on, yeah,
exactly, and then that's what's beautiful about connection. Okay, we can both agree that this is going to fall if I let go of it,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and that's fucking beautiful, man.
It is.
But the experience of us both watching that is so different.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
my experience just then, I was like, he's not actually going to drop it, is he? But you were like, there's no way I'm going to drop this. I'm just making a point. It's
Yeah.
like we're right here. Two
Yeah.
completely different experiences, bro. And that's like the classic thing of twin brothers, bro. Of like,
Yeah.
watch the father drink, and one of them became sober, one of them became an alcoholic.
Exactly.
Why did you do it? Both of them answer, I
'Cause
watched
my
my father.
father.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's like, yeah. I'm timid, bro, because after reading only 6 pages of that book, I don't want to go into this right now, right?
Bro, it's on your brain. Do it.
But I have to. At risk of being an ideologue,
Yeah.
because I now know what that word means, I believe that there is a way in which we could make people's experience be more focused on learning about the self rather than surviving existence. And I think that that's through making food, water, and shelter free, right? But it's like that's my point of view from where I am based on what I've experienced, and I'm currently trying to learn through that book, through life in general, how to like detach myself from the idea of that being a race I need to win, and enjoying the walk and the conversations that I have about it throughout my life. You know what I mean? And in terms of like, in relation to what we're talking about like, the fact that we're all living the same thing, that for me is one of those things that I believe could be a black mug.
Yes.
That people could be like, yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? That makes sense. And I want it to be a black mug, but I have to like accept that not everybody's going to see a black mug. Some
Yeah.
people are going to be like, what are you talking about? There's no way that could
Totally.
hold water.
Well,
There's
the,
no
pro-
way
the,
that could...
the problem with that is that it's not tangible.
yeah.
Well, it could be, but the idea is not tangible. It's a concept. You're just like, you're
Yeah.
saying something, and people are just going to build something in their brain that's just not the thing.
And that's why I believe, and this is the initial boost of it for me and the whole inspiration, it was never the question. It was the idea or the intangible of what it looks like. Because essentially it's a study, right? It's like what it looks like when I have 10,000 conversations.
Yes.
Then go, there's 10,000 people talking about it.
Yeah.
What does that look like, And it's like if I talk to 10,000 people over my entire lifetime and they all talk to 2, they talk to 2, they
Echo.
talk to 2, and it's
Yeah.
like, what does that look like? That's real.
Talk about
you
a
know?
little pivot 2 centimeters. That's a fucking big old
Yeah.
kilometer pivot
Yeah.
that fucking leads you in such a different direction.
Because I don't think in my wildest dreams that the outcome of this, which shouldn't be what I'm attached to, but
Yeah.
if I had a desired outcome, it would be starting a conversation, not making it a reality.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I wonder if anyone's thought about this,
Yeah.
And there's going to be a bunch of people that are like, yeah, and they're going to attach all their ideas to it and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's like, I just have never heard anybody be like, this could be a thing. And whether people laugh it off or what is regardless is
Yeah.
irrelevant. But like,
What's hilarious because
Fun little journey, man.
I've known you. We've been talking about this for a decent amount of time now.
3-4 years.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
you've brought it up a few times. Not a lot, to be honest,
Yeah.
considering how much it's brewing in you.
It's brewing.
But I think we naturally talk about it, but it's not so specific.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because even though I've heard it for these many years, I still like my brain's still like, yeah, but that's like communism. Well, I don't think that
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
but like I'm like, yeah, but then if people aren't working, and you're like, no, they should.
They're working.
It's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
funny how like even after me, I'm not even like
Yeah.
I don't even see it clearly the way
Yeah.
you see it,
Yeah, but that's the thing is that
Yeah.
I'm aware of my oversimplification of it.
Yeah.
I also believe that the simplification of it is crucial, but getting into the specificities and what everybody else's angles on it are, I think, is so essential to understanding how it can work practically.
Yes.
The interesting part, or the confusing part, which I find interesting, is that there's going to be so many people that attach ideas to it out of comfort and out of things, rather than seeing it for what it could be, and immediately, like you said, it's communism or like whatever. It's like, well, it's just easier to slap a label on an
Totally.
idea and go, that's what it is. But my interest is in the difference between people that are able to be like, okay, so how does it work, and like, what's the go? And then me being like, well, that's the point. Is like, well, how would it work,
Yeah.
Because
You're just curious about the idea of it.
yeah, I'm not the guy with the answers.
No.
But bro, when I read that book, bro, Jordan Peterson, man, and his friend, who I don't think actually named himself in the foreword just yet, but he said, Jordan and I never agreed on the answers, thank God, but we always agreed on the questions. And I was
Beautiful.
like, bro, like
And
that's the juice.
that's connection,
man.
bro.
It is. Because
Yeah.
it's like, if you can comfortably sit with someone and go, what if, or maybe, or how
Because
could,
even
or
if we
why?
think we're agreeing on the same thing in terms of the answer, it's like
Yeah.
what you mean and what I mean are still gonna have those subtle differences, you know.
Yeah.
So
Still going?
screensaver, yeah.
Nice. I think that the reason why through the intangible, which is a lot of the time the conversations that we have about life, it's like a really beautiful back and forth we have about where and how and what it all means, and motivations and analogies about the race and all of that sort of stuff. It's like, the reason why I always end up coming back to it is because it feels tangible to me, but it's not, I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, this makes sense, but it's not my place to make that call, but I can keep having the conversation.
Yeah.
And in the same way that I understand the size of it, I also understand the size of difference within everybody. It's like that thing we were talking about 2 centimeters and 100 miles apart. You're living next door to somebody, and they're having a completely different human experience to you, bro. And I'm privileged to have everything I've had in my life, but more than anything, to believe in this idea in a way, because it's like, it's stupidly grandiose and amazingly optimistic, and I find it fascinating to think about conversating with people about it, but more so I find it like, I find it crazy to think about the fact that everybody constantly has these nuts thoughts all of the time, and it's like, how many of them intersect? Like, how many are common thoughts? How do we get to the point where there's those things that we go, this is a tangible, and we agree on that? Like, what scale of conversation had to happen before everybody went, we agree? And it's like, what are the things we actually agree on? How much of society, like within different countries, different cultures, within that, what's actually sitting on the middle line between my reality and
What
yours?
are those things?
And for me, it's like, well,
Laws of physics would be the biggest thing, I believe, right?
right.
I
Yeah.
mean, some
science,
people, not even,
science is
that's
a big
pretty
one.
good.
I think.
Still not perfect.
I think. What's it called? It's like the only universal language. It's not facial expressions. It's something like that, though. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
body language.
Right.
Body language is the only international language
Yeah.
that everybody speaks. It's like no matter where you're from, what you're doing, if I'm like this or I'm
Yeah.
like this, you're like, ah,
Happy,
sad,
sad,
angry,
angry,
whatever.
Yeah.
Like you're able to pick that up. That's something that's real on the median line, right?
Yes.
What else, bro? We all sleep,
Yeah.
right? And this is how I got to the thing of
Food.
the thing is I was like,
We
yeah,
all eat.
we all eat.
Shit.
Right? We all shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fucking guarantee, mate.
Yeah.
And it all stinks. That's another
Yes.
one. Yeah,
And we all stink if we don't clean ourselves.
for sure, for sure. We all need water.
Yeah.
You can go a certain amount of time without it, but you're gonna need that, bro.
Nah, water.
Eventually.
Yeah.
And you know, roof over your head's not bad. It's a good.
But
thing.
it's not essential.
It's not. It's not. But it helps.
I know. Yeah.
But I agree. But I don't know if I do agree. I mean, people living without shelter.
It depends where you are.
Well, I mean, what are you defining as shelter, though? You know, like, are you thinking about like a house, or are you thinking about
No,
a hut?
but if we're talking about that line that we all have to do something,
Right.
I could go out in there and have no shelter and survive the night. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And if it's a warm place, I could do that my entire life.
Yeah.
So that's not.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
not on that
Yeah, yeah.
line we
It's not on
all
the definite
share.
line.
Exactly.
I read that.
It's,
Yeah.
But I agree that we all should have it.
Yeah.
You know.
What else we got, bro? Like clothing. Clothing is something that like everybody.
I guess our senses. You know, we all see, we all hear, we all. Well, not all of us, but
It's all right.
generally.
The blind people will never see it, and the deaf people will never hear you
Yeah,
say it, mate.
perfect.
So you're good.
close one.
Have you ever
Deaf people are just watching it with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
subtitles on.
Yeah, the subtitles are like, yeah, fuck blind people, and meanwhile you're like, fucking deaf people. Oh, man. I've seen those.
What about sensations? Okay, is there a blindness to sensations?
Elaborate.
So we feel sensations from our nerve endings and our skin.
Right.
Is there a blindness to that? Is that a thing? I've never thought about it. You know, you got deaf people. Some people can't smell. Some people
Oh,
can't
people
taste.
without nerve, like people with nerve damage.
I guess
you can be
that's
born with nerve.
That's yeah, you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
You can't feel anything.
Yeah. I think
To
that's
the-
bro. Yeah.
Whoa.
Don't think about it too much. Bro. It's fucking.
You
I've
you
spent
think you're like they can't move, but nah, they
can't
can't
feel, bro.
feel their
Yeah,
penis.
which means that they are just like floating, bro. Floating. And
That's
You
crazy.
just got a viewpoint,
But do they feel their face? I guess if they can talk, they can, right?
but that's it.
But what?
Outside of that,
There's some people
nothing.
that I guess that's where you go to a coma. It's like he's aware right now, but he can't move. He can't acknowledge you. No blinking. That's crazy. Yeah.
I watched a video of a girl with Kamsey. We were on mushrooms, so it was fucking. I felt it. She was talking about she had a terminal illness and she had like lots of different experiences in hospital and like she'd gone into multiple comas and she said that her experience of a coma was just like a really long dream, except the shape and the environment of the dream would be dependent on her familiarity with the people that were in the room.
Wow.
So if there were nurses and stuff in the room, it was very like cold, callous corridors, like not scary, but just like plain Jane,
Yeah.
like, you know, imagine like a hospital wing, you know what I mean? But she said it wasn't. It was like, you know, houses she'd never really been in and like it was a little bit uncomfortable and was just sort of like, oh yeah, I'm here, but like this isn't the great. But if her family and stuff were there with her in the room, she was like at her 8th birthday party and it was
Yeah.
like she was a part of it. Like her parents and that would be having conversations and she could like hear it.
Yeah.
But it was like, and she's like, and like she thought she was involved in the
Yeah.
around a campfire, you know, like for whatever reason, that was just where she was. And then like, yeah, so,
Fuck, that's interesting.
but I mean, dude, dreams and like,
What
all
an
that,
experience, you know.
Yeah. It was-
Like if I was veggie, but I was aware, like don't pull the plug.
nah, you
I'm gonna-
put
let me-
acid in your line.
Do it.
I will, bro.
Yeah.
I promise.
Thank you. Hey, I'm sober, okay.
Imagine me
In 6 months when I have,
Imagine me trying to convince your parents, bro.
bro, they'll show them this.
I just put a yes. I was about to say, I just put a tab on your tongue.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
I
they don't
have
need
to
to-
talk
you
to
don't
the
need to
doctor.
tell them, bro.
Yeah,
No
yeah. I
way.
don't have to be like,
Intravenous
hey, doc.
acid.
Yeah, doc. I need a big dose, man.
Yeah,
I need
right.
it direct to the bloodstream.
Straight up.
I could literally just be like, boop. whoop on your tongue
Yeah,
and
just put it underneath, you know.
bro, that'd be crazy, dog.
And I'll just be like, oh my god, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
Holy shit, bro! Imagine if you woke up.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Like nobody's ever done it
Done it
because it's like
before.
so fucked up to
Not
do that.
okay, bro.
But that's the cure.
Nobody's ever consented to being given acid while in a coma.
That's so crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised if it helped you find your way back. But I mean, we've talked about these moments in dreams where it's like you're in a wake up loop.
Oh yeah.
There's a definition for it, but like you wake up, you're still in a dream. Wake up,
Yeah.
you're still in a dream, and then like we talked about that moment where you have to go, where's my
Where am
real
I?
body? Where's my
Exactly.
real body? And you're like trying to feel sensations, and you
yeah.
grab onto something, and you're like, there I am.
That's
like
crazy.
maybe because of that muscle, bro. Like you could do
Right.
that in a coma as well. And be
Well,
like,
that was that fucking dude that story, Mr. Ballin on Chris Williamson, and he was telling that like he was in a VR game and he started seeing the glitch and he was like reaching through and like came out of his coma in real life, and I was like, what the fuck?
I don't remember that one. I
That's
remember
later on in the episode,
Really?
or maybe
Oh no! Yeah, I do. Yeah. And he was
Yes.
doing it. He was running tests in Tokyo or something in,
Yeah,
in Japan,
yeah.
and it was like
VR game,
VR game, and he had
then
like been going to work and like all of that.
Bruh.
Oh, bro,
So
I was too
true.
caught up on the lamp one.
that lamp one's
The
fucked.
lamp one is.
Yeah, definitely recommend if you want a good listen, Mr. Ballin on Chris
Yeah.
Williamson, the recent one.
Hard.
It's out fucking outrageous, and he
Oh.
teaches a good, it's good tips on how to tell a story, and
Yeah.
I've listened to so many fucking podcasts, and I have no idea if it like stays in me, like
It does, bro.
I
I believe
don't
shit comes up when it's relevant, bro.
Yeah.
I believe in that. I don't know what it is. It
not,
might
but
be
not even just like information, but like, do I apply what I'm like? Am I learning this, or am I just like gathering? I might be just gathering information. or-
repetition, bro.
Who the fuck knows?
Repetition's the key.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. I'm basing this off nothing. But
Yeah.
like, well, not nothing. But if I, what am I basing this off?
I guess if you learn something in a textbook and then when
I'm basing it off homework.
you're in an occasion where it comes up, then you're like, oh, I can apply this knowledge that I learned from the textbook in real life.
But this is the thing, right? So you've got your hopper, like you call it, your short term, and
Yeah.
then you've got your long term, right?
Yeah.
The reason homework exists is because here's some information. You're at school, you're like, I understand this makes sense.
Yeah.
You put it in the thing, and you're like, yeah, I get it. But just because you got it, it doesn't mean you keep it, right?
Yes.
And so then you go home and your homework, and you're like, I don't want to do this, and then you do it, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember how to do this, right?
Yeah.
And that moment of being like, why did I even do that? It was so
Yeah.
pointless. Of course I know how to do that.
the pattern got deeper.
That was
ingrained.
actually sending it back to the full-time position, right? And it's the same with all of these sorts of moments. It's like you listen to a podcast or whatever. It's like, or for example, you learn a new word from reading a book, and then it's like if you
so crazy.
if you the next day, bro, you meet somebody and you learn their name. It's like if you don't use it later in the conversation or later on in the night, if you don't have that moment where you go,
it's gone.
what's their name? And you're like, oh, John, that was it. And then you connect this memory of you remembering that
stronger.
their name's John with the first time that they said, hi, my name's John. Then you're just like, you'll never forget it.
Well,
Because
that's
now
not true.
You've created, that's not true.
But the more you
But
do
yeah.
it, the stronger the connection is for you to be able to grab it from the.
That was a very optimistic.
Yeah.
You'll never forget it. But that's how my brain works. I'm like, once I get 2, I'm pretty fucking solid.
I need like 7 or 8, and then I'm good to go.
Yeah, okay,
But
with-
then
with
once I get
names,
it,
yeah.
I can. Yeah, it's in there forever. I'm locked in.
I'm gonna use that. I keep it when I'm in terms of things that aren't people's names, because I think if you want me to remember your name and I want you to remember mine, I think the best courtesy we can do for one another is share a memory and an experience
It's a good
together.
fucking idea.
Because whenever we've talked about this before. You meet somebody and you're like, hey, how's it going? It's John. It's like, chair. And you're just like, I've met 12 people tonight, you know? And it's like,
there's
all good.
nothing
But-
special about this conversation.
But then some special happens in the conversation.
Now
and
you
you're
remember
like,
this person.
what the fuck is this guy's name?
Yeah.
And then also, I feel if I properly am having a good chat with somebody, like regardless of the context, if it's if a girl I'm flirting with her, I'm like, oh damn, or like if it's a guy and I'm just having a mean chat, or like I'll just have this moment where I'm like, I'm so comfortable with the conversation that we're having that I'm comfortable to go, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Yeah.
Because and I feel more comfortable
common.
doing it then than later. You
Oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Because by the time you see them again, it's like, hey, and if they say, hey,
I
Seamus,
honestly, I'm
like,
at the
"Oh,
point.
crumble,
I'm at the
bro."
point where like I say I've met them a few times. Like, sorry, what's your name again?
Yeah.
And even if they're like, oh, bro, we've met, I'd be like, yeah, I know. I don't know your name, bro.
Yeah.
I know your face. I remember hanging out. You know.
I remember who
I don't
you
care.
are. I just don't-
You're
yeah.
not gonna, But most people don't even. Most people are just like, oh yeah, it's fucking,
Bro, I have-
Dana or whatever.
I had a moment on Saturday night. I met a kindred spirit, as I had
Yes.
told you, bro, and like literally brought me to tears. With
Do you remember his name?
bro, I don't.
Strong emotional connection.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure his name was
The
James.
theory's
James or
falling
Jimmy or something
apart.
like that, bro.
Shimmy.
But this is the thing: is that the reason why I didn't remember his name is because he told me it didn't matter. Like,
Right.
I was like, I'd had that moment where I was like emotional because, fuck, I can't put it into words, bro. I was super fucked up, and somehow
Yeah.
we were both just like, it was like I was talking to me in
Eye
the
to eye.
future, bro. It was like eye to eye, exactly, bro. And then he goes, oh no. Then I was like, fuck. I can't believe I'm having all these emotions and I'm feeling all of this right now. It's like, I feel like I'm just talking to me. And he was like, yep. He's like, that sounds about right. And I was like, bro, I don't even remember your name. And he's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, it never did. He's like, you like identifying yourself by a label is like, it's nothing. It's like, it's part of the fucking,
Minutia.
you know? Yeah, it's part of the bullshit. It's part of like, oh, this is who I am. It's like, yeah, well, what's that, bro?
Yeah,
you know,
it's
it's
not.
not. It's a
not.
sound, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wearing. What's your name?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
No, it's actually Pop Pop. Don't you
Oh,
remember?
Pop.
No, Pop Pop.
Pop.
Yeah.
Meh.
Mer. It's a nice name.
Mine's not very.
That's the least interesting thing about someone, you know?
Their name.
Yeah.
Have you actually looked into? Well, I mean, you with Zonneveld,
Yeah.
Sun and Field.
Sun in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to look up my name's meaning because I
Yeah.
think that's
Malloy.
where it can.
How do you pronounce it? Irishly?
Malloy.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, Malloy.
Right.
Malloy. Yeah.
Malloy. It's not like a Malloy or something like a little bit subtle different.
I'd say there's probably a twang with an Irish accent, but
Right.
other than that, it's just Malloy.
Malloy. I don't know.
I'm not playing that game with you, bro.
I'm terrible at that game. I'm not even trying to play it.
Bro. Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. If I'm going to define myself by a sound a lot of the time, it'd be good to know what those things are worth. Because
Yeah.
in terms of life being all of the little things adding up to the whole, me knowing that on a, like you said, physics is one of those, things that are on the line that we can all agree on. It's like
Yeah.
they've gotten to the point where they're sort of starting to meet a weird, confusing bridge with like, spirituality and stuff where it's like, it's all literally vibrations. Like there's a point where electrons choose whether they're waves or whether they're particles, and depends if you're looking, you know what I mean? And
Yeah. That is crazy.
bro, a double slit experiment, bro.
Yeah. By observing it, it changes.
That changed my whole life in high school, bro. Shout out Mr. Wheeler.
I
That-
only found out the other day.
it,
This year I found that.
no
out.
way.
Bro.
No, I've told you. Oh, we're
I
stoned,
wasn't
bro.
listening, bro.
Yeah. Fuck.
It didn't hit me or click or whatever.
Oh, bro, it's so
Yeah.
nuts. But my point is that like, if it's all on a deeper level, if it's all waves, right, and it's oh, this is cool. Okay, so if it's all waves when you're not looking, but it's all matter when you interface with it, it's all particles and it's all physical. It's like, it doesn't take away from the effect of the waves within it and the way that it's vibrating on the level that you can't really perceive even when it's matter. It's like how they say there's a chance your hand could go through the table. It's because it's still waves, but it's like, it's playing a trick. It's like, no, I'm here. This is real. Like, touch me,
Yeah, my understanding of those words,
Yeah.
it's not strong enough for me to like, because waves and matter, I'm like, I know everything's made of matter and everything's made of energy, and inside particles it's waves and energy, but it's like, I don't really understand it,
Yeah.
so for you to say that and me to be like, yes,
Is a lie.
it's a lie, so
Yeah.
I can't say yes to that.
I mean, we'll chat about it later.
Bro, but I do feel things,
Yeah.
and on an experiential level,
I-
it's fucking
I think the best way to describe it is like, if you imagine like a cylinder shape, right? Like a fucking spherical tube, right?
yes,
And this is your object, right? And we'll call it a piece of like it's frozen solid, and inside is just water, right?
Yeah.
What that means is that all of the particles within it are really close together,
Yes.
right? Which means that they're not moving around, which means that they hold a structure, so it becomes a solid,
yes,
right? Now, when it gets given energy in the form of heat,
yeah,
the particles start to move around a bit, and they
Yeah.
start to, you know,
Move
they're like,
faster.
okay, but they're still kind of like
Separate.
touching and like, you know, but they can think,
Yeah.
and that's water. So that's in between. That's like the flow. That's the liquid state of
Yeah.
of a piece of matter, right?
Yeah.
And then once they get heaps of heat, they're just fucking they're everywhere, bro. They're just like, there's so much space between them. They're all just fucking running around.
Bouncing.
That's a gas,
Yeah.
and that's what steam is, right? And so it's like those are the three states of matter, and as you look at like a solid, right? If you're like, this is a solid, like there's, you know, oh yeah, the particles are close together. You think there's no way you're getting through that, but there is space between them, and that's like when you get to molecular. I don't know if that's the right word, molecular physics, or theoretical physics, or whatever it is.
Yes.
Bad on my part, more of a feeling at this point, to be honest, for me as well.
Well,
But
that's
once
what I'm saying, because everything you're saying, I'm like, I understand all that.
Yeah,
I was taught that in
the
school.
The next bit.
No,
is the
it's
bit-
like, I can conceptualize of that.
Yeah.
But I can't understand it because it's too big. It's
Yeah.
like, I can feel that this is matter, and
Yeah.
I understand that this is made up of atoms, and inside of those atoms, smaller things, and
Right.
inside of those things are smaller things, and inside of those, it's like space.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been told those words, and I don't understand it.
That's all they are.
Or at least maybe the word I'm using is wrong. I don't comprehend it.
Right.
I can visualize a concept,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And I think that's fair. I mean,
But I think
How could you?
Something's I know, I know that's all we got.
yeah.
But I think the interesting thing about it is that when you start to perceive your world differently, and bring it back to your experience because that's real
Right.
for you.
Yeah.
Once you start to perceive those things,
Yeah.
and your world around you as energy and vibrations and waves instead of solid matter, cold, you know, it's like your life can change and you can feel you get a different feeling about life, you
Right.
know. I mean, but that's like
See, this is
fluff.
No, I don't think it is. I
Okay.
think that's the foundation of a quality of life that we're striving for. And let me
Right.
explain why. It's like, if you think about it, right? Everybody is having the same experience from the start. You're a baby, you got nothing, right? And you're given things, experiences, right? And experiences are then translated into a paradigm, which is your map of the world, and that then becomes your perspective. It's same word, different
Yeah.
thing. But if you continually allow yourself to have more and more experiences, like the whole idea of like, especially in terms of things that are uncomfortable. So if you're like, you get to a point of having a certain amount of experiences and you've got a pretty good paradigm, you've got a map of the world, you're like, this is it.
It's working.
Yeah, as soon as you say this is it, it's like you're halting all progress, right?
Yeah.
But to make it not fluff, it's like if you're always open to the picture changing, then you're always open to every possible new experience, and you're also more adaptable. You have the ability to be able to like navigate the world in a way that somebody who has a certain paradigm won't.
Yes.
And that's not fluff at all. That's
No,
very practical.
That is very
It's like,
I like how you translated that.
yeah, it's like you read more books, bro. You're giving yourself more experiences. You have more knowledge. You're able to
Open.
perceive the world in a different way, which means you're
100%.
able to interact with it in a
Yeah.
different way. Same with having a perspective of or an understanding of how science works.
Yeah.
Even if you can't define or feel or connect with it in that way,
Isn't that
it
crazy?
matters to have that little bit of
And
an
to
angle.
have that
yeah,
humility. Well, like what a crazy thought. Like you literally need to, because once you've locked in that paradigm,
Yeah.
now you're comfortable. And now you've got control. And now you've lost
you got the idea of comfort. You got the idea
idea
of control. Yeah.
But the feeling is there.
yeah.
But it's funny that in order to actually have that openness, like you talk about, to change your life and keep on shifting your paradigm,
Yeah.
you need to surrender.
Yeah.
And which is like, what the fuck are you talking about? You literally need to let go of what you know and what you are and like who you are and like,
Yep.
fuck, it's like the scary, like, I guess like, I don't have it all figured out and like obviously you don't,
Nah.
but fuck, bro, letting go, surrendering that shit. And that's actually like the way you fucking grow and move forward and, you know, welcome that discomfort we're talking about at the start, you know?
Change is the only constant, bro.
Yeah,
And
it
that's
is.
fucked up because the word constant to me has so many connotations of like stability. You know, it's like, oh, constant. Yeah. Like solid. Like, yeah. From here to
Such
here.
a paradox, bro.
It is, bro. That's why I love that sentence so much. But that's life in a way, you know? It's like and the your let me grab these words. Come on. Your capability is defined by your adaptability. So it's like if you can fucking be like, I'm going with it, then you're way more capable
Yeah.
of doing, like, and that's letting go.
Yeah.
But also grab and hold. It's
It's
both.
It is, and that's what I'm talking about. That flow, like the dead fish go with the flow. It's like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
The flow is the deciding to surrender, and the deciding part is the grabbing on,
yeah.
and the surrendering
Surrendering
part
part
is
is
letting go. What a paradox!
Do you want to end it on a paradox?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, that's good.
That's beautiful. It's 6:40, so I think Sam's gonna read it.
Me. Bro.
Oh, what a cool first episode, man.
That's nuts, bro.
That was beautiful.
I really enjoyed it, and I feel like that little meditation before
Key, bro.
it helped set the mood
Yeah.
and got into a flow, and
So easy, fell into it, bro.
yeah, I spoke really honestly. Didn't
Yeah.
feel like there was lots of dead space
Nah.
or worry.
Or talking to them, the
Yeah.
like people,
But
you
there
know.
was parts where it was like,
Well,
go
but we
listen to
noticed
this.
it, you know, and then
let's define
Yeah,
the compound. Let's,
exactly, yeah,
but I
true.
think it's good to have context as well.
yeah, totally.
But man,
Nah, but fucking no pressure.
no pressure.
Keen to do these, bro.
More often,
Yeah.
bro.
And mean practice for life, you know, and just like
straight up.
also just like
And the more that I think my biggest worry was like fuel for it. I'm like, how are we gonna? And I'm like, it's the same conversation anyway. So
bro, we always
let's just
fucking
go
can't go
read
to
a book.
sleep at night because we're chatting before like time to go to bed and like half an hour just passes like that because we get stuck on some convo. It's no different, eh?
I love it. I love
All right, peace out.
Peace
Love you
and love.
guys. Episode 1 done.
it. Only took 4 years.
Wait. We're officially in the
In the
race.
race.